Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Voiddyn and today we're going to be talking about a deck that's a little bit different than what you normally see. We're going to be talking about Gouging Fire today. Gouging Fire is a deck that you usually see kind of show up here and there for a day two, but recently it's topped 8 regionals, so I figure it's good enough to talk about. Gouging Fire is all based around fire Pokemon, especially Gouging Fire. Gouging Fire EX is an ancient Pokemon with 230 HP that has the attack Blaze Blitz for 260 damage. It requires 2 fire and a colorless, which normally isn't that big of a deal, but we'll go into that in 1 second. It also says this Pokemon can't use Blaze Blitz again until it leaves the active spot. So this deck's going to play a little bit differently with trying to switch it in and out of the active spot, with also trying to accelerate energy onto Gouging Fire. But what are the other attackers in the list? Along with Gouging Fire, we have Entei V. Entei V has the ability Fleet-Footed that says once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your active spot, you may draw a card. It also has the attack Burning Rondo. It deals 20 damage plus 20 more for each benched Pokemon. This includes yours and your opponent's. Now, because of the fact that we have expanded benches due to the new stadium, that's played a lot in the Terra decks, Burning Rondo is definitely a huge deal. Along with that, we attack with Delphox V. Delphox V has the attack Eerie Glow, that's not really used, but it also has Magical Fire that deals 120 damage, and when you attack with this, you put 2 energy attached to this Pokemon into the Lost Zone, and you deal 120 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Now, this is only really played as a one-of, so while this is, a good way to pick off weaker targets on the bench, this is something that's going to be a little bit not as crucial as getting your Enteis out and your Gouging Fires. For support Pokemon, this deck also runs Moltres. Moltres has the ability Flare Symbol that makes your basic fire Pokemon's attacks, except for Moltres, deal 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is really there to help fix some damage numbers when you need to do a little bit more damage, but overall it's a really good addition to the deck. This deck also benefits from using Magma Basin as well, so you're going to heavily discard to take advantage of both Professor Sada's Vitality, which allows you to attach from discard onto 2 ancient Pokemon, as well as use Magma Basin to get a fire energy back onto something on the bench. You also play Energy Switch to allow you to really move that energy around where you actually super need it, and you play Secret Box as well to set up everything that you need, as you're going to mostly discard energies with this card, or cards that are no longer useful. Now let's get into the games and kind of see how it goes. Now, with Gouging Fire, I'm not exactly sure if we're supposed to go first or second, but I think no matter which way we go, we'll probably be in an okay position because there's ways to play around stuff, especially because we run Squawkabilly EX. Squawkabilly EX is going to allow us to dump a lot of stuff into the discard and really take advantage of stuff such as Magma Basin to get an extra attach and kind of set ourselves for Professor Sada's Vitality. So for this, we're going to start Flutter Mane in the active, just because we want to shut down any other abilities, but I'm okay with also starting Mew EX and a Munkidori. You never want to start Lumineon, because you don't get the ability Luminous Sign either way, but Flutter Mane in the active against the Squawkabilly is huge here. If our opponent has nothing else to start, being able to shut down Squawkanseas is like super good here. This is going to force my opponent to have to put something onto the bench and find a way to attach and retreat, which we might get right here, right? If not, they're going to end up passing their turn with Squawkabilly in the active and not much else to do. Honestly, as a Flutter Mane start, we probably don't have a better start here at all. So don't be afraid in the beginning of the game. See, look at that. Now their Squawkabilly doesn't do anything. Don't be afraid in the beginning of the game to do something like we just did. And for this, right, I am probably also going to Squawkabilly as well, because I do not have anything in my hand to really do. So I'll grab the Squawkabilly and put it onto the bench. Now, normally we could do something like Judge or something else of the sort, but I think we're just going to Squawkabilly our hand away, just because we're not really making strides or momentum or anything of the sort. So what we'll do is we're going to play this Gouging Fire here, and I'm going to Nest Ball, and my Nest Ball is actually going to go for an Entei V. And we want to draw an extra card too, so we're going to use Jet Energy to bring the Entei into the active. right? Entei is weak to water, which is something we might have to worry about next turn. But honestly, we just want to draw cards and see as many things as possible. Now, we'll just end our turn here because we don't really have much else to do. But we do want to be able to use Professor Sada's Vitality next turn if we can. Unfortunately, it does not hit our Jet Energy. So there is a world where we could have just attached a... Oh, okay. Our opponent conceded, which is not a huge deal. As you can see, I'm kind of learning my ways throughout, you know, the play pattern of the deck. But it plays similar to a lot of other turbo decks, where what you want to do is you want to get yourself set up as soon as possible. And the way that they do that is they discard energy into the discard, using stuff like Squawkabilly, using stuff like, you know, Ultra Ball to discard energies, things of the sort. Professor Sada's Vitality is probably one of the best ways to go. Now, I'm not going to go first, because I think that I really just want to get more practice into seeing how these games go. Now, we do get to start the Flutter Mane in the active, which is pretty funny as well. So we'll start that in the active and hope we get something a little bit better. If we don't have much else to do, our goal is probably to Judge first turn. Only reason is because, like, we don't really want to get rid of Sada's. We don't really want to Boss's Orders. We don't have anything to attach to, right? There's a world where you go, if we draw into a Fire Energy, we go Ultra Ball, discarding Fire Energy and maybe a Boss's Orders or a Judge or something, and then you Sada's to 1, but you always want to try to get more than 1 attachment out of your Sada's. So unfortunately, they do get the Squawkabilly right away. Raging Bolt is one of those decks that's very aggressive when going first, right? They want to dump as much energy into the discard as possible, because they want to use Professor Sada's Vitality, like us, to reattach. So it looks like they are attaching here, and they also have Teal Mask Ogerpon. Really good part for us, though, is that we really like the Teal Mask Ogerpon, because what we want to do is we want to be able to essentially pull it up forward with Boss's Orders, and we can get a quick knockout with Entei without it really taking much out of us. Teal Dance attached to draw, and their goal is to dump everything into their discard that they can so that they can attach later on, using stuff like Superior Energy Retrieval to get to hand, or using Professor Sada's Vitality. Now, we got into a kind of okay situation here. They have better draw than we do, so what I think we're going to do is we are going to Earthen... man, I think we spin the Pokestop first. Okay, we did get an Energy Switch back, which is okay. Magma Basin's not as great to not get here. But let's get rid of this... man, we want to try to attack as soon as possible. So let's get out of Boss's Orders out of our hands. And then we will put Double Fire into our hand. Right? And then we want to discard Double Fire. And we kind of want to get ourselves into almost like an attacking position soon. So let's go Gouging Fire onto the bench. Yeah, I think Gouging Fire onto the bench is fine. We'll play the Gouging Fire. And then we're going to... Man, I really want to double Sada's here, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll Sada's here for 1, and then 1 here to retreat. And we did get a Magma Basin, which is pretty nice. Right? So, but the only problem is that we don't have a... Oh, no, we don't need that, right? So we Magma Basin here because we want to bump the Pokestop, right? We want to Energy Switch onto the Gouging Fire. Like this. And then we will play Jet Energy here. Bring this into the active. We'll put an Entei V there just in case, but we want to Flare Blitz here to get the knockout. And just like that, right, we get a quick knockout. It took a little bit extra because we had to get some turbo cards out, but it's not really that bad, right? We have fire that we can get into the discard. Unfortunately, our Gouging Fire can't attack just yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to look to try to either get an Energy Switch or something else of the sort, and we want this Entei into the active, possibly. I don't know, there's like a little bit of a decision tree that we have here of how we want to go forward. I'm thinking that what we do is we play the Mew EX just to be able to draw some cards. They do get a Fezandipiti down, which is pretty good, to allow them to draw extra cards. They do have a ton of cards in hand, but they have no setup, right? This is the really cool part about our deck, is that we were able to kind of, like, punch right through the setup. By the way, the reason why Big Charm is being played, or yeah, Bravery Charm is being played so much in these decks is so that you can really survive those one hits, right? Think about how much Entei really just churns through other stuff. So you're able to, I'm sorry, not Entei, Gouging Fire. Okay, looks like they have a bunch of energy ready, but they don't really have a lot to discard because they've filled up their bench with a bunch of other things. They only need 4 energy on board to discard, but I think that's okay. Burster is a little rough here because they discarded a bunch of cards. We'll play this Roaring Fire, or Gouging Fire, I'm sorry. We'll play this Mew. Now, we could easily just simply Boss's Orders up something else, and then we take another knockout. I think that's what our job is here, right? So we could let them have that full hand, but we need to knock the energy off the board too. So the way we're going to knock the energy off the board here is we are going to bring up this guy right here. And then I'm going to simply put this energy onto Flutter Mane to have it go up first with the Jet energy. And since we have a different Pokemon in the active rather than... And honestly, because our Gouging Fire went onto the bench, we could simply just retreat it, bring it back up, and now it can flare Blaze Blitz again. Now, note, we didn't really need to Blaze Blitz there. We could have, you know, had another fire attack that could have been a little bit more efficient. But honestly, we're at the point that when you want to beat Raging Bolt, you want to make sure that they have no energy out on the field, right? They're looking to get KOs against you, and the best way that they're going to get KOs is just by completely lining up energy, discarding it, and getting that hit ASAP. So my opponent's spinning their Pokestop. They're looking for anything that they can to get themselves a Sada's, right? Because a Sada's gets them back into the game. So they're going to go Sada's, probably attach onto here, then attach onto here, right? Which is fine. But then they manually attach for turn, or they Teal Mask Ogerpon, which is going to be really awkward for them if we do get another Boss's Orders, because if we draw another Boss's Orders, we might be in a very good spot. But we'll cross our fingers and hope that we don't get to that point yet. Because I want to try to show other ways that we can do this. So Raging Bolt's probably going to remove the 2 off of the Teal Mask Ogerpon, as well as remove 1 off of here, right? They do get the knockout here, but our goal is to essentially not have to worry about them getting a knockout. So we put Mew back in the active. Hey, look, there's the Boss's Orders. I don't believe we get a knockout here, even if we wanted to. So I can play a... There's a world where I don't play a fire. Let's Pokestop first and see what I get. Well, the Sada went to the discard, which is not what we wanted, right? So we'll Trekking Shoes. I do not want to put the Dark Energy into my hand. Kieran's pretty okay. That allows us to switch stuff out. But we need more of a discard type situation, right? Discard draw. So let's judge. Judging's probably the best thing we can do here. Maybe we'll get Fezandipiti, something else to draw as well. Although, okay. So let's put a Charm on our Roaring Moon. Let's put the Forest Seal Stone here, right? And then I want to probably just... So if I attach for here, right? Do we get the knockout with that? We do not. So let's put that there, and then I'll restart to draw 2 cards. Okay, Munkidori and Shoes. I would like to put Magma Basin into my hand, right? Magma Basin has been found. Let's Star Alchemy to see if I can find anything that gets us out of this current situation. Right? We are currently not playing... let's see. We are currently not playing anything that really gets us there. So I think we search for... Let's see. Getting a swap's not worth it. We would need a boss's orders next turn, but I think we prized our last boss's orders. So we're going to need to essentially set ourselves up. So let's get Fezandipiti. Nope, sorry, boss's orders is in hand. Right? So let's draw our cards off of Flip the Script. Right? We have Radiant Greninja to discard if we really need to. But we don't need to right now. We could just simply Magma Basin. Right? We don't have the Dark Energy to move damage off. That might have gotten us somewhere. But instead, we're going to retreat here. We're going to bring Entei up. I need to bench something in general. So we'll bench there. And then I'm going to draw a card. And the Delphox might have actually been the thing here, but I'm not quite sure. We'll do 220 here. See if they take another knockout. I don't believe they have the ability to take a 2-hit knockout right now. And we can kind of just refuel if we really need to. There's the energy retrieval. They're going to need to be able to get something out of their hand. Or, sorry, get this guy off the board state. Because we will be able to just boss's orders it up. There's Sada's coming in. Right? They only need 3 energy here. Realistically. But if they do not retreat, I just get the counter knockout. They may not know that, though. Well, actually, it's not even guaranteed that I get the counter knockout. My apologies. I have to make sure that I have an attacker. So how do I win this? I need a Sada's Vitality. Do I have Sada's Vitality? I have 3 in deck. So we'll Pokeball from there. Okay, we'll Mew here. Okay, Moltres is no longer needed. So let's get rid of these 2. Let's check our deck to see if we have anything left. We do have a Sada's Vitality left. So Lumineon does help us get there. So we'll go Magma Basin. Right? Attach. Attach from hand. Lumineon. And then we will use Luminous Sign, and we'll get ourselves a Sada's Vitality. And then we'll do something like this, right? You attach here, and then we attach to Flutter Mane just because we want to get one out of the discard. Don't worry about that normally. Excuse me, you do not want to Sada's Vitality to the Flutter Mane there, especially when you already have the knockout, but don't... You only want to, like, Sada's Vitality to Flutter Mane if you have something like an Energy Switch, or you think it's going to go into the active. But, I mean, look, Lumineon being in our deck, we didn't prize check, we didn't think about a bunch of stuff, so this kind of just gave us the win. We played that very sloppily towards the end. So my opponent gets to choose whether or not they want to go first or second. Looks like my opponent's going first. Now, I don't like starting Gouging Fire in the active spot, but I appreciate having it, because having a Gouging Fire in the active spot just means that I'll be in a position where I can really just go off next turn and, you know, guarantee that I have it. I have a Sada's, right? But I think what we're going to do is we're going to probably go Ultra Ball into finding ourselves Squawkabilly and discarding our hand and going forward from there. My opponent's playing some sort of Gardevoir list, and my opponent has decided to go first. Which is fine in Gardevoir. I really don't like going first in Gardevoir because I like being able to use TM Evolution like as soon as possible. Like, one of the biggest things about... See, I think we've hit a slew of newer players. But Mimikyu there is being an interesting point. Right? Because now Mimikyu can kind of sit there and, you know, take hits from Gouging Fire and not have to worry about that. But that's what the Moltres is for. Gotta... Natu as well. Okay, so it looks like they're just playing some, like, general Psychic shenanigans, which is fine. We'll play a Magma Basin. We're going to drop our Charm here, and then I'm going to probably drop Lumineon and get rid of the Basin because of the fact that we're going back in, and we're going to be Squawkabillying. So let me discard my hand here. Okay, we still didn't find any energy, which is kind of a downside. And we have no... Oh, well, we can get the Entei with the Nest Ball, so we'll do that. The problem is that... Oh, God, we have to, like, dump so many things just to get this to really be a thing. Let's Star Alchemy. Although, that, by the way, that was a misplay. I should have drawn first. But our goal is to grab an Earthen Vessel here. And then I'm going to use an Earthen Vessel, discarding the Serendipity, or sorry, the Fezandipiti. Getting 2 fire. Right, and then I'm going to, I can concealed cards one away, right? Trekking Shoes, see if we can get another fire into my discard. I cannot, so I will put this card into my hand, sure. I'd like to get some knockouts sooner rather than later. So what we will do is we will Magma Basin here. Let's put one on the Entei V. And then I'll put this Jet Energy onto the Entei V to move it forward. Right. And I already used a... What supporter did I use this turn? Oh, do I not have any fire in the discard? That's why. Okay. That makes sense. That's alright. That was a misplay on my part. Draw my card off Fleet-Footed to another Gouging Fire, which we'll put out. And then I'm going to Blazing Rondo to try to get the knockout here. So we'll take the knockout here. We'll take a prize. Right? So normally, obviously, this isn't really teaching you guys what else is being seen in the format. But what this should do for you guys is give you guys an idea of... You know, how you play into something like Mimikyu. Right, something of the sort. So, like, the only thing I can really see is that we attach an energy to Mew EX, we use Mew EX's stuff, and if you can use Mew EX to copy Mimikyu's Ghost Eye, because you put 7 damage counters, you don't deal damage. I'm pretty sure that's how it will work. But also, if they're just putting a Mew EX out because they're just trying to copy, who knows? Their deck looks very strange compared to what I've seen. That's double energy switch, man. Okay. Hear me out. Let's retreat here. Fleet-Footed first, draw card. Let's retreat. Put up Mew EX. Attach Magma Basin to here. Then Sada's Vitality. Oh, no, I don't have 2 in the discard, man. I messed up. Well, that's okay. Because it's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. The reason why it'll be fine is that we're going to energy switch onto our active, right? Oh, I don't have the... I attached an energy for turn. Shoot. Okay. That's fine. We'll just let this sit here. Because genome hacking will stop my opponent from using genome hacking on myself. So, it'll be fine. We do have the ability, I mean, we do have our Gouging Fire kind of set up anyway. Again, right, like a lot of this stuff comes with repetition. As you can show, or as you guys can see, as I'm actively playing this, I'm still kind of messing up and doing this stuff, right? So, for example, right, I want to get rid of this fire that we have here. So I'll discard this fire to draw 2 cards. And we have a bunch of stuff in hand that I currently do not need. So what am I going to do? I'm going to probably discard even more fire. There's not anything I need here. Maybe the Delphox. But I need to be able to have board space to actively use the Delphox, right? So we'll use Sada's Vitality. We'll move 1 onto here, 1 onto here. Draw some cards. That includes the stuff there. We'll attach here. Energy Switch 1 onto here. And then we're going to manually attach here. Now, if this works properly, which I believe it should, I should simply just be able to genome hacking and knock out the Mimikyu. So let's do that. Yep, because, so the difference between putting damage counters on and dealing damage counters is, like, not as straightforward as you'd think it would. Dealing damage requires you to, or when you deal damage, it's damage from an attack, while putting damage counters on is just an action or an effect of an attack rather than actually dealing damage. So there's another Mimikyu out there too. We do have a boss's orders that we could just simply boss's orders up and then Mew EX to put more damage counters on stuff. But I don't know if we're going to get to the point where my opponent's going to actively do that. Now here's the question though. I just showed them last turn that I can knock out their Mimikyu. I guess they technically don't have anything else to do right now. Oh, okay, never mind. They're going to probably bring up my my Entei. So what we'll probably do is, to save ourselves some time, we're going to jet energy up the Gouging Fire and have the Gouging Fire knock out the Mimic, or the Mew EX. That's the only thing I could really see us doing here. Hero's Cape going on the Mimikyu, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just knock out the Mew EX with a Gouging Fire. So we'll boss his orders and then jet energy. And I think that should be more than enough. So we'll boss his orders up the Mew. And then jet energy here. Right, and then we just simply Blaze Blitz. Right, take 2 prize cards off that. And then what we'll look to do after this is, you know, either draw more boss's orders to get more knockouts. Because it looks like my opponent may not be knocking me out anytime soon. I do have 2 boss's orders. What's this list run? This list runs 3, so 1 could be in prizes. So a simple way to check to see if it's in prizes, since we're not really using Ultra Ball right now, we can go through and try to see if we can find it. Okay, what's the Diancie do? As long as this opponent's in the active spot, whenever it plays a supporter card from their hand, prevent all of... Okay. It looks like they're just playing what they consider to be good Psychic Pokemon, which is fine in my book. We do have Moltres here. We do have other stuff to switch. I am currently looking to see if we have another boss's orders. If not, we retreat into something else. I will leave the Moltres in hand because it can attack. So it's probably going to be Bravery Charm and Nest Ball. And then let's take a look at the board. I do not have a boss's orders left in deck, which is fine. We'll probably get... Like, Munkidori and Flutter Mane are good ways for us to deal with stuff here. But I think we're just going to retreat here and use both fire to retreat. Right? And then we go Mew EX, and I say, okay, Mew EX, I want a genome hacking. I'll attach a fire here. And then I'll Magma Basin just in case. Last thing I want to do is not have enough energy to retreat in case something tries to lock me out. And then we'll Genome Hacking to put an extra 70 on. It's not the cleanest way to do this, but I mean, it's most definitely a way. Flutter Mane probably is not the way we want to do this either. So let's see, 140. If they get a knockout on anything else, which I don't think they're going to, if they do, we should be able to just simply play down like Delphox or something else. Right? And we get a knockout on like the Curlia or something and hope we get our last bosses. But this is a, you know, Ghost Eye does not do a lot of damage very fast. We can judge them. I don't think I'm going to judge them. We're just going to simply Genome Hacking. There's no reason to do anything else here. Right? Don't overplay your hand if you don't need to. Right? A lot of people underestimate Mew EX, but Mew EX is a fantastic card that can definitely get you out of weird situations that you would not normally win. Okay, there's the Xatu. Right? They're going to attach basic Psychic Energy onto their Pokemon and draw 2 cards, which, like, is fine. But I just don't know what their win con is, or what their beater is. It looks to be Mewtwo. I don't know. It's a little strange, right, guys? Like, looking at my... Okay, what's my opponent playing? Turn 1 of your... Heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. You may turn 1 face down, prize card face up. It does 100. It does 80 more damage. Okay. Seems interesting enough. Yeah, it looks like that they were just trying to kind of jam some stuff together into their Psychic deck. And they're like, hey, I want to play Gardevoir. Gardevoir seems pretty rad. I want to play Xatu. Xatu seems pretty rad, so. Turbo Energize. Okay. I'm interested to see what Turbo Energize does for them. The only thing I can think of is that they grab another Mimikyu and then they charm it or something, or they retreat here and they bring out another Mimikyu. Right? But the problem is that Mimikyu just gets knocked out by its own attacks with Mew EX. And if that doesn't happen, then we have a lot of other stuff that kind of comes out. Yup. So they're basically getting ready, just in case. Maybe they retreat. I don't even think it's worth retreating here. Okay, they switch. Probably into the other Mimikyu. Or they're like, hey, here's Cresselia. Yup. Heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. Okay. Well, I can just copy the Crescent Purge ability, attack and flip a prize card face up. So I think that's what I'll end up doing. Right, so we'll go Genome Hacking, yes. Right, I want to choose the Crescent Purge. Yes, I would like to use the effect. There's my boss's orders, and I deal 160 damage. And then I will take that boss's orders to hopefully close out the game. Because now my opponent can't just simply be like, hey, here's this Mimikyu with 1,000 health. You know what I mean? Like the 170, just putting 70 damage is not enough on it anymore. Or I could just attack with Gouging Fire. One of the two. There's another Mew EX. Again, guys, a lot of the ways that you win at Pokemon, or you do better at Pokemon, is by not overextending and just kind of like being a little bit more malleable in how you want to play, right? So I'm purposely not playing anything or doing much else because I want to be able to switch stuff out of the active if they try to lock me into something like Radiant Greninja in the active, you know, Squawkabilly in the active, Entei V in the active, right? I want to be able to switch stuff out. So stuff like, you know, Professor Sada's plus Energy Switch will be able to get me out of stuff, you know, getting locked out of the active, you know, things of the sort. Okay, there's an attachment onto the Mimikyu. I mean, we're probably going to go out with a bang. I'll probably drop a... I will probably Boss's Orders up the Mew EX, and then I will use Gouging Fire to knock out the Mew EX. Again, not really needed. We basically had this as soon as we got the Boss's Orders out. And yeah, and just like that, my opponent conceded. So again, not really the best display. The best display that we really had was that Raging Bolt game earlier. So we'll play one more game and call it for the night. So for this, we really want Entei in our starting spot. Just because of the fact that, like, you know, we want to be able to draw more cards. My opponent starts with Pidgey, which is pretty bad on their end. If they're not in a position to really, like, set themselves up, we could probably do a lot here. There's a world where if we, you know, we kind of set everything up, maybe we get, like... There's, like, a one-hit KO category, not with Rotom V. Rotom V is going to cause a little bit of an issue. But, like, you know, Delphox, other stuff like that, might allow you to get a KO somewhere where you may not be able to. Okay. Ton of stuff kind of ready to go. So when you play this type of stuff, right, one of your biggest things that you want to do is you want to make sure that you get the knockout on... you want to make sure that you get the knockout on the Pidgey early, if you can, right? So we want to go Nest Ball, right? So I want to go like Nest Ball into something like Squawkabilly, right? Because we want to discard our hand. I'll play the Magma Basin. Shoot. I don't have anything that I want to retreat into just yet, but let's get some more energy into the discard. I'd like to discard an energy and get 2 more fire into my hand, just to be able to, like, squawk and squeeze all this stuff away. Okay, so what is our next play? Our next play is that we probably want... So we have 1 energy switch, right? We want to probably be able to get the other one into the active. I'm trying to think of, like, what our current play is here. Can we get 3 energy onto... 3 energy... I think we can. So let's go for the Delphox. Right, we're using the Delphox here specifically because I think we can get the knockout. You have to discard 3 other cards. Shoot. Okay, maybe we could still do this, right? So Secret Box discarding Lumineon V, Radiant, and the Fire? Because we need the Energy Switch, right? So we go with Professor Sada's Energy Switch. We don't care about the Stadium. The tool is probably Charm. Hold on. Sada's gets 1 energy. Energy Switch gets a 2nd energy. 3rd energy. Maybe we need something to get this out of the active. Earthen Vessel. Yeah, and then Magma Basin. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we are going to Sada's, right? Sada's attach here. Draw 3. Jet Energy is perfect here. We go Magma Basin onto the Delphox, right? We go Energy Switch onto the Delphox. We go Jet Energy onto the Delphox. It goes into the active. Then we go Delphox, Magical Fire. I would like to put 120 there. And then we get a quick KO. It's not like the cleanest KO, right? But the fact that we take away 2 of their setups right away is huge. Like, we stop them from, like, really playing a lot of the game. Especially because we have a Sada's in hand plus Magma Basin plus Gen Energy. We just simply get to have them kind of like... Yeah, and see, like that. My opponent even conceded after us removing their Pidgey and their Charmander. Right? Putting them so far behind. Delphox V is very strong in the list. And guys, we've had really weird games today, as always. When I try to show you off this list, it seems like a lot of the time there's like, not even this list, but all like the other lists that we kind of played with. It always seems like that there's like this weird meta that we hit where we just don't really hit meta decks and we hit people playing and trying new things. That might just be because of where we are on the ranked ladder, but don't worry about it. So overall, I will say Gouging Fire was a blast to play. I'm actually really enjoying this, and I'm really impressed with Secret Box. Secret Box was a card that I didn't know I really wanted to play until I started playing it. Card is actually sick. So some other cards that we really see in the deck that have like really exceeded expectations are cards like Kieran, right? Being able to switch your active with your benched is super important for this list, especially because your Gouging Fires aren't really going to be doing much by themselves at all. But to also do 30 more damage to your opponent's active, EXs and Vs will help you fix certain numbers, especially with Moltres. As we saw earlier, Mew EX is a great draw engine, but also allows you to attack, and also is a free retreater, right? So don't be afraid to do something like Switch Cart, get Mew EX into the active, attach your stuff onto the bench as needed with Magma Basin and all this other stuff, and then just go and retreat the Mew for free and attack. Overall, guys, that's been it for Gouging Fire. If you guys enjoy the content, feel free to drop a sub. Feel free to give the video a like and tell your friends as we continue to make more content like this. I will talk to you guys soon, and thanks so much for coming to hang out. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.